real is removing our masks, right? Because Black folk for so long have had to wear their masks in almost every space that they've entered. And now that I'm coming towards the end of my tenure with the organization, I'm only now starting to feel comfortable with taking that mask off, right? And I'm not there 100%, but I'm probably about 95% there.
Thank you for tuning into The Real Storytellers. This space was created to allow you to meet some real ones, those engaging in racial and social justice work, and to allow you to cultivate your own journey. These members are real, their stories are real, and their work is anchored in everything the Real movement represents. Welcome to The Real Storytellers. I'm your host, Angel Booz, and today we have a special guest with us, Miss Felicia Davis. Felicia, can you please tell us who you are and or what you do?
Sure. My name is Felicia Davis. I am the administrative assistant to the Director of Professional Development and Instructional Issues for NJEA. And I've been with the organization for about 21 years now. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Now, Felicia, can you share a story about a time when you knew you wanted to be a professional educator?
Well, I'm not an educator. I am a staffer, NJEA staffer. And I just happened upon NJEA. I was born and raised in Trenton, never knew the building, really sat on West State Street. I would always ride past it back and forth. And I was temping at the time, and a temporary assignment came through at NJEA, which I was hired for. And then from there, I took a test to become a permanent employee, and I've been with them ever since.
Kudos to you. I love that story. It's funny how we all come to our path in the most abnormal of ways sometimes, but you just happen to be native to the area and took advantage of the opportunity. I love it. Now, in your work as a staffer, Felicia, can you share a story about the moment you became aware that racial equity is critical to our work?
Sure. So I could probably name a few things, but what really stands out most is probably our mailroom consists of several employees. The majority of them are of African American descent. And so they are considered range 2. So in terms of salary, we have range 2s, range 3s, and range 4s for the associate staff personnel of NJEA. And it just seemed to me that going to the mailroom or being assigned to the mailroom sort of became like a punishment for employees. There were some disciplinary issues for some employees, and it just seemed that in certain cases, it was always the people of African American descent being sent to the mailroom and print shop and becoming a range 2, being demoted to a range 2 position. And so that really stood out to me. And, I've been working to try to change that.
Absolutely. Now, what have you been doing in that regard at this moment? What has been done? What conversations have been had? And have you had any leeway with that?
Sure. So since NJEA decided to take on the issues of social and racial justice and equity, I've been trying to really, do my part to make sure to hold them to their commitment. And by the way that I've been doing that is becoming more involved in the staff union, which is the United Staff Association. And so this past year, we've been working very closely with the union to make sure that they recognize their employees of color, that they respect their employees of color, and that their employees of color are treated in the same manner as all other employees. And so for the past year, we've been working with USA to do that.
Absolutely. That's critically important because regardless of what union you're in, we need to make sure that people are equally represented and that they see themselves as a part of their union in a way in which it matters. Not just to be a dues paying member, but to have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else, and the same treatment. So I'm really proud to hear that you're doing that, and I'm excited to hear about the changes that happen in your role there as a staff member.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. I mean, we've already made some changes to the Constitution, the union's Constitution, and brought in some new amendments, and we were able to get them adopted. And so the work continues. It's not an easy thing, and it's very time consuming. But I've never sort of participated in any sort of union activity other than being an association rep early on in my career, and so now I've circled back, and this is a very important work, and that's why I'm sticking with it.
Well, I'm glad that you are. That's great. Felicia, can you describe your relationship with the Real movement?
Yeah, so I happen to work with the coordinator of the Real movement. His name is Gabe Tangliao, and I work in the professional development and instructional issues department with Gabe. And so, we would be talking casually, and issues such as inequity, injustice within the organization would come up, in some of our conversations. And so Gabe and I started a more formal group of meeting with employees of color, and, to discuss issues that are affecting us, and then as the pandemic hit, we all were told to work from home, assigned to work from home. And so our conversations continue, but they continue in the forum that included the union and how we could best sort of engage the union to talk about these issues. And so our casual conversations turned into something very formal. And so that's really how I became a part of the Real movement.
That's great. Those conversations are going to mean changes. And so it's great that you guys were able to take that from an informal to a formal conversation, because talking to the people who are in those positions to make the change is critical.
Absolutely.
Now, have you had one or more experience with the Real that has challenged you or helped you to grow in some type of way?
I'd have to say the entire experience is helping me grow as an individual, helping me really determine what it is that I want as a staffer of color, what I would like to see, think about those things, and really try to be an advocate for my fellow staffers of color. Like I said, the committee work within the staff's union has been very challenging, especially because the powers that be can sometimes be gatekeepers. And so although they speak with the intent to align with us, sometimes their actions are different. And I'm sure that you've experienced that. And so that's probably the most challenging thing, is hearing what someone is saying, but realizing that their actions are not aligning with what they're saying. And so, I just feel that I have some development that's needed in terms of really engaging these folks with being honest about what it is that they say they want versus what it is that they're doing. Absolutely. And so that's probably the biggest challenge for me.
Well, we know actions speak louder than words. I mean, the saying rings loud and clear. So we really do have to start holding them accountable. And we're hoping that over the next coming months and years, we start to see things change at NJEA in a major way. And I think having staff members like yourself and Gabe and Eric there and pushing that agenda, that will definitely get there sooner than later.
Sure.
And thinking of the future, what does it look like, and how does the Real movement influence that future?
Okay, thank you. So I see an influx of younger staff, more staff of color from diverse backgrounds. And so I think that alone has changed the thinking and changed the planning of NJEA events. in NJEA protocols. So, I see the future as being very bright for staffers of color and the members of color as well. And I'm hoping that, the work that the Real movement is doing will indeed result in a more favorable work environment for its NJEA staff and a more favorable environment for the members of color. We've already seen with the Real movement and also with the Members of Color initiative headed by Eric Jones, we've seen more of our members of color really step forward, because I think that in the past they haven't really been welcomed. They no one has really reached out to them to see what their wants and needs are. And so I feel like the Real movement and other movements like the Members of Color group are doing that in a very significant way. And so I see the future, as long as we continue along that path. I think that NJEA will become a more diverse place for everyone, and one that is accepting and respectful of people of various beliefs and backgrounds. So I'm hoping that that's the direction that we're going in.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you said. I am someone who has been teaching for 13 years. And when I joined my union in 2007, I honestly did it because I was told to. I was told that it's important to be a part of a union so that I had protections in place and, was able to just have full benefits in terms of the things that are offered to members. But not once did I ever see myself being a part of NJEA in the way that I am today. And that is coming because of the Member of Color Initiative and because of the Real. Most of my career, I shied away from the union because I just felt like being involved meant that I was going to be ostracized or my administrators would attack me. But through multiple conversations with people who were involved, I was encouraged to do so. And 3 years ago, very quickly, I went from being a building rep to being the secretary of my local union to becoming a vice president now, grievance chair, and now for 1 year, as of February, becoming one of the first consultants of color in the communications department. So my journey is absolutely an testament to everything that you just shared. And I can honestly say that without those initiatives that Eric and Gabe are putting in place, I would not have the opportunities that I have in my union. So I hope more members continue to see that there are opportunities for them as well, and they get involved and step up in ways that they haven't before.
Sure, absolutely. And congratulations to you. We need more people in the fight. That's going to get us where we want to be in the future. So, I'm glad that you stepped up, and I'm glad that you're as involved as you are. I've seen you in these spaces, and every time I see you, I'm very happy, to see you, participate so fully in these spaces. So congratulations to you.
Thank you very much, Felicia. So getting back to you, because this interview is about learning more about yourself. If you had to create a hashtag for your work, what would that hashtag be?
Wow. I'd probably say the hashtag would be from a Jay-Z line, as he's probably my favorite rapper.
I love me some Jay too, so go on.
Yeah. I will not lose. I will not lose would be my hashtag.
Now, do you have any final thoughts to offer the audience?
So, when I was notified that I could volunteer to be interviewed, I was a little hesitant at first, but again, in doing this work, I feel like, why not? Why not lend my thoughts in my conversation to the Real movement in this way? Because I'm just one person, right? But my experiences are very similar to the experiences of other staffers and other members of color. And so I want to, represent the group as much as I can, and this was one way to do that. And so, I thank you for having me. I thank you for inviting me to this space. And I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to see you engaged in this work, Angel, and I wish you all the success, that could come your way. We'll be in it together. And so hopefully at the end, we'll be triumphant.
Felicia, thank you. Thank you for coming into this space, being your authentic self, for showing up real and raw. The audience, I hope they appreciate that, and they understand how their individual role can make a major impact in associations in the same way that you're doing at NJEA. So again, thank you for blessing us with your presence, your knowledge, your experience. We appreciate you and the work that you are doing, and we hope that you continue to do that work.
I certainly will, Angel, for as long as I can. So thank you again for having me.
You're very welcome. And to the audience, to learn more about the Real Movement, visit our website, real.njea.org. And until next time, peace.